How you guys doing? I've interviewed about like 15 so far. I have another 10 tomorrow. So about half of them. Sorry? Yes. Yeah. I think I have the ability to play all over the defensive line. As you know, last year I played defensive tackle, and then this year I played a little bit more defensive end. But I believe I bring everything to the table in terms of playing the run and playing the pass. And I'll play wherever a coach needs me to play. A guy I loved to watch on Sundays was J.J. Watt. Although he's not playing anymore, it was just a guy I loved turning on the tape every Sunday, and watching his game and trying to model myself after him.
You played D tackle here in Iowa on the outside.
Yep.
You kind of played a little bit of both. What did you learn from that experience playing inside? How did you play?
Yeah. Everything happens a little faster inside. You got to be better with your hands, a little lower with your pad level. And it taught me all the fundamentals of playing good defensive line. And I think that really translated to my outside play. It helped me play with good leverage, be physical. And I attribute a lot of my play to playing, my years before and playing inside. Sorry.
275? Is that what do you expect to win?
275, yes, sir.
Is that what you played at?
Yes. I am. Yes, I'll do everything.
So, is there ever a point in your career where you're like, they gotta make me a starter? Like I know you're pretty well with the coaches one, but
Yeah.
you're obviously going to go high in this draft. So, where does that resonate for you?
Yeah, I had two older classmen in front of me. That's just kind of the way the University of Iowa does things. They're always fair and consistent with everybody. And regardless, I still had some of the higher snaps on the defensive line. And I just learned through this process that every time I step on the field, I have an opportunity to prove myself.
Is that a way to show teamwork in some ways? I mean, you have John Wagner and Joe Evans, both
Yeah.
guys ahead of you, that you're team first guy.
Yep. Yeah, I was happy with the rotation and the organization that we had. I put full trust in Coach Parker and Coach Bell and putting us out there. And again, like I mentioned, every time I stepped on the field, it was just another opportunity to go play the game I love and just another opportunity to prove myself. Yep. Yeah. At the University of Iowa, we played in like a really pro-style defense. They're really based on fundamentals. Playing the game the right way. You have a responsibility and execute your responsibility. Even when I came into the University of Iowa as a freshman, I resonated with the program just because the foundation, the culture that they had. You come in, it's blue collar, you work hard, nothing's given to you, everything's earned, and those are a lot of qualities I'm going to bring with me to the next level. Yeah, I met with the Falcons yesterday. They have a great coaching staff. We had a really good interview. I enjoyed every moment of it. They have a super interesting defense. I think it would be a really fun scheme to play in. And obviously, if I get the opportunity to play in that franchise, I'd really be looking forward to it. Yeah. Yeah. CJ's a great kid. I've had limited conversation with him. We're in the same agency, so I've had a little bit back and forth conversation with him. Although I trained out in Los Angeles and I was in the North location, he was down in Orange County, so we didn't get to see each other too much. But he's got a lot of potential. I think he's a super talented quarterback, and coming into that Ohio State game, we knew we had a challenge up for us. But I'm really excited to see what he can do at this next level. Yeah. I'm the first one in my family that's had the opportunity to play at the next level in college, but also get this far, and we're all just having a lot of fun with it. Obviously, my parents are super proud of me, and I'm just really happy to be here.
What are your teammates this year talking about
Yep.
What did he bring and what did he bring?
Yep. Jack Campbell is a great leader on our defense. He was the guy when I came in as a freshman. He took me under his wing and showed me the ropes. He's a guy that's super humble. He works hard. Small town Iowa kid, just your ideal Iowa Hawkeye. And we walk around together. A lot of people tend to mix us up. I think we look kind of similar, But again, it's a really hard worker, really great kid, and he's going to make a great fit out of whatever team takes a chance on him. I'll stick with some of the guys that I trained with. I was with Ohio State, Zach Harrison, and Georgia, Nolan Smith. Both very good edge guys, very talented prospects. I think they have a lot of potential and they're great players. And they're, I'm really excited to see what they put out tomorrow and Friday. I have not spoke with them. I talked to the Steelers tomorrow in a formal interview. But, of course, you got to watch TJ Watt. That's the guy that everybody watches. For me, I was more of a JJ Watt player. Obviously, he's retired now, but that's, who I turned on Sundays and love to watch. Yes, I interviewed with them already. It was great. I spent some time, obviously being right there near Wisconsin. Obviously I was a Bears fan growing up, but, would go back and forth, met a bunch of guys, over from Wisconsin, and the Cheeseheads, right? But, it'd be great to play in Lambeau. I think they have a great established program there, and our interview was great, so. I think it's just my versatility, being able to play all over the defensive line. It's also just the mentality I have. As some of you guys mentioned, I've never started a game in Iowa, so I'm looking forward to getting that first start at the next level. So coming in with a chip on my shoulder, I'm just ready to put my nose down and work. Every time we had a game against Northwestern, his name was circled. We always had good competition against each other. He's a great player, and I knew every week I had to be ready when we played him. Yep. I played defensive tackle primarily the year before, so, I really didn't do much preparation for playing outside that game. They bumped me outside, and as you guys saw the result, when I can't get around someone, I'm going to go through them. Yeah, so I grew up playing hockey. I played all the way to my senior year. We actually had a pretty good team, made it to the Final Four in state, but couldn't play due to COVID. We would have played in, the Blackhawks arena. But I think I attest hockey to a lot of my skills and my balance that I have today. Hockey requires a lot of agility. It's a hard sport to play. It's very physical. It's very demanding. And a lot of those attributes contribute to the player I am today on the football field. Yes, sir. Yeah, that was a sad day. I'm a Caner fan. I grew up watching them going through their Stanley Cup days, and obviously was a huge fan, but sad to see them go. I love to golf, although, I'm not the best golfer. I think some of my hockey skills translate over a little bit. But, I also love to fish, just, love being outside, love the outdoors. That came in an interview about a year ago with one of my defensive tackles, Noah Shannon. He kind of mentioned the name in an interview and it stuck. And since then, I like to pride myself in the weight room. It's something I'd always love to do is improve your body and work hard. And it's kind of a name that stuck. And it's been fun. We joke around with it, and I'm assuming it will stick for a while to go. I think it's probably not good to say, but in the last 2 years, I think I led the league in penalties. It's just due to my size, unfortunately, which was just kind of part of the game. There's really not that many big kids that play hockey, so just due to my size and my weight, I was able to sustain a lot of penalties that, in my eyes, I don't think were fair. Thank you, guys.